Hi, everybody. I'm Mike, and this is Mike Miller Talks Life. Today's quote: "A moment of patience in a moment of anger saves you 1,000 moments of regret." We know some, or I don't know them, but I see some people in our neighborhood, young family, and they have two little kids, about 5 years old, two boys, and they're just full of energy. I'm sure they're a handful for their parents. One day I was walking by their house and they were telling their parents something and they were talking loud and all excited. And the dad just yelled, "Shut up. You're not listening." The dad wasn't listening. He was impatient with these guys who was trying to get something done. And it was crazy, I'm sure. But I was feeling like he's going to have a lot of moments of regret if he doesn't learn to be more patient with these kids. Patience saves us a lot of regret. I have regrets that stem back to a lack of patience. Patience with people is hard work. It's very demanding. And when our patience is running low, we will be easily frustrated. We'll say harsh, rude, sharp things to people, will hurt them. And if that describes you, then you need some patience work. We're all impatient because of the pandemic. We're just kind of over being home, over being locked in with our families. It's just too much. And you can tell when people get a little more freedom, they're just going crazy just to get out. Being impatient with people is rooted in our differences. We have different personalities. The introverted and the extroverted drive each other crazy. Different weaknesses and strengths. We're motivated differently. We have different ways of learning, different ways of changing. And this really drives people crazy because we think everybody should learn like us or make changes as quickly as we can. We perceive things differently. We process things differently. We like different things. We do things very differently. These differences create misunderstandings and cause impatience. We make assumptions that everybody will just be like us, and we discover very quickly that they're not. We are also impatient because we want to have control. We want to control people and we want to control situations. We want it to go our way. Patience is not letting things go. It is not refusing to speak up when something is wrong. It's not refusing to confront a problem. And it's not being totally passive. We need to make adjustments. We need to deal with life. We need to deal with things and talk about things that are wrong. Patience is taking a long time to boil. Have you ever waited for water to boil and you're watching it and you keep thinking, I know it's taking longer because I'm watching it, but I can't quit watching it. I want it to boil now. Well, we can have a boiling point. And patience is taking a long time to boil. It's having a long fuse, not blowing up in anger real quick. It's not that getting angry is wrong. There are times when anger is the right thing. There are certain things that go on in life that we really should be angry about, and we should do something about it. But we need a longer fuse when dealing with people. So what's your boiling point? It's kind of fun to rate ourselves sometimes and just a little check. This is not a scientific thing, but 3 areas that are pretty common. So just sort of rate yourself. If you give yourself a 1, it means you're not patient at all. And in fact, taking this little quiz is annoying. It's taking too long. Or you give yourself a 3, I'm not bad, I'm patient sometimes. And if you give yourself a 5, which means I'm very patient, I would recommend you run that by somebody else because maybe you're not as patient as you think you are. The first is interruptions. How do you handle interruptions when you're trying to have a nice dinner, or when you're involved in a project trying to finish it up, when you have a deadline and you're working from home, when you're trying to just block out some time just to read and somebody keeps interrupting, or you have some plans for the day, you want to get going and get these things done, and you get phone calls, the power goes out, unexpected company, whatever, and it's just interrupting you. How do you rate yourself? 1, no patience. 5, totally patient. Inconveniences. How do you handle inconvenience moments? This is so inconvenient right now. You have car trouble and you're busy. You need both cars running. A major appliance breaks and you're having out-of-town guests. You're trying to remodel your house while still living there. That is massive inconvenience. Doing dishes in the bathtub and trying to take a shower. And I guess you could wash dishes while you're showering. I don't know. Working from home and there are problems with the internet and it's so inconvenient. How would you rate yourself? Or the third is irritations. Things that are just irritating. It's like, are you kidding me? A long line at the grocery store and you just need a few things, but you got to wait for 30 minutes to get in. It's like, oh man. Or you get in the car and you got to get going. You're running a little bit late and you realize that he or she did not put gas in the car. And now you got to stop and do that. Your kids are pushing your buttons because they're sick and tired of being home all the time. Or you, again, can't get online and you need to. So, are you a short fuse person or a long fuse person when it comes to dealing with people? Our relationships would radically improve if we were more patient and not always annoyed with people. And some ways to lengthen your boil time, to lengthen your fuse, some simple little things to try to make a part of your life. And the first is to develop a bigger perspective. Egocentric predicament. Something that you learn if you take a basic psych class or sociology. It is this natural condition of being immediately aware of one's own thoughts, feelings, what you want, how you want it done, but not that aware of the people around you. And a bigger perspective is just to see more than you, to see more than your way, to see more than what is happening in your life right now. This will help you be more understanding. A Jewish proverb states, a patient person has great understanding. Everyone has a reason for why they do things a certain way. Everybody has a why for what's happening and what's going on in their life, for what they're doing right now. Everyone does not manage life like you do. And we need to try to understand what is going on in their life. Just take a moment just to listen to them and try to hear and understand. Understanding helps us become more patient. Understanding will broaden your perspective and help you relax a little bit and to be more patient. Next is just to revise your expectations. We all have expectations about most things, especially when we enter a relationship of some kind, like you're working with other people, like you hire someone, like you're at school, in a group project, maybe dating, or maybe married, maybe in a new neighborhood. And you have expectations for how things should go, how people should be, how they should act, what they should do or shouldn't do, how they should function in their various role. And when people don't measure up to those expectations, we become angry. And expectations will become demands. And then we have a problem. So it helps, if you can, to say what you expect. This is what I'm after. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I would like. And give the other people, if possible, a chance to say sort of what their expectations are. This will help you make your expectations more realistic. I mean, it helps for some of us who are kind of controlling and perfectionist to realize that there are many ways to do things. Now, if you're the boss, you get to have it your way. But just understand that there are other ways to do many things. As we revise our expectations with our spouse, our families, our children, our employees, our neighbors, we will become more patient. I think also it helps to work on your sense of humor. There are some funny things that go on. And if you're really impatient, you miss it. You miss some of the best parts of life. I kind of have a good sense of humor. I see humor in things. Sometimes I see humor that no one else would see. But I think it's funny sometimes how different we are. And I mean, you don't want to change everything. You want to maintain how a person is, because it can just bring humor. I mean, if a super sharp computer person marries a person that just has a hard time turning the computer on, that can be funny sometimes. They just can't get it going, and it can be funny. So I think it's just good to think about, if you can laugh at it, you can live with it. And humor dissolves a lot of tension. Accepting and seeing the value of people will help us relax, help us become more patient, help us to laugh at things where we're radically different. These are simple actions, but man, they can help with us becoming more patient with the people in our life. Remember, a moment of patience in a moment of anger can save you 1,000 moments of regret. Just a minute of taking a breath. Just a minute of trying to understand. Just a minute to step out of the batter's box and just think for a minute, what's going on here? In that moment when you're just about to blow up, will save you 1,000 moments of regret. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful. I'll give you some things to think about, and maybe some things to apply to sort of lengthen your fuse, lengthen your boiling point, so you're not just blowing up all the time. Everybody needs people around them to be more patient, especially now. Especially now. Things are tense. Patience is welcomed. Thanks so much for listening. I hope it was helpful. I hope you'll click like. Hope you'll share it with somebody you know. And until next week, I hope you have a healthy and patient experience in this week. Thanks.